Welcome to the Cricket Matters podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe and review when you get a chance to help build the Cricket Matters audience and spread it all over the world. I was going to make a terrible mum joke then, but I will resist. With me, as always, is my co-host and Wales over 40s cricketing legend, James Breeze.
Let's not go that far. I don't think I've heard that. I don't think I've heard that status,
but I'm trying to be nice. I was going to make a joke about your mum, and I was trying to be nice, etc., etc. So
thanks for that.
You have,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. But you have recently played for Wales over 40s, have you not? So before we go into the podcast, let's have a quick chat about that. You guys played England last week. How was it?
We did. It was very good. Actually, it was the first ever over 40s international. Actually, so it was quite a big deal. All of that. Yep. It was.
Why? How come we've never done it before?
There's over 50s and over 60s and over 70s going the last, I think, 4 or 5 years. Yeah. But then the over 40s have just kicked off now this year. So I played in the inaugural game at Broxbourne CC against England, which was a fantastic experience. Now Wales lost, but we tried to compete as well as we could, and it was a great day had by all, really. And we're playing him again next week, actually, in the return fixture. Yeah.
Where you playing? Where's this one?
In Panteg, down in South Wales. So it's that's where the second game's coming on, and we got Ireland in late August in Dublin as well in the over 40s, nice. Who actually beat England, surprising enough, in the recent fixture too. So it's all happening. The seniors veterans cricket is kicking off in a big way.
Excellent. Who did you get out?
Well, there's a gentleman by the name of Darren Stevens, but let's leave it at that for that. It was a good day out had by all, which was pretty cool. So yeah, no, it was good. It was
a shame the stream didn't work because I wanted to watch you, but the stream didn't work.
People were so angry about that. There were so many angry comments on that stream because it wouldn't work. It was incredible. But yeah, hopefully we'll have it going for the next game in Panteg so we can see that happen. And it'd be good. But yeah, no, honestly, it was a great day out. Everyone played really well, played as hard as they could. Shout out to Sean Morris from Colwyn Bay CC. He scored 110 nice. On debut, first ever game. So 100 on debut, fantastic innings from him. Mickey Martin opened the batting as well with him, which was good effort. But again, England were just a little bit better than us on the day. And their spinners did exceptionally well. So we could have played spin better and then move on from there. It was a great experience, really, really fun.
Cool.
However, they did play the slowest anthem in the world for Wales. It was like someone singing the national anthem on methadone. It was ridiculous. Like, it was quite funny. Brilliant. So we were like trying to sing along to it, and it was like, yeah, this is a little bit slow. I
love the Wales anthem, even though I'm English. I think the Wales anthem is fantastic. I wish it was our anthem.
It's been voted one of the best anthems in the world.
I agree. Yeah. It's a cracking anthem. Most important question.
Not when it's done slowly. Not
when it's done slowly, perhaps.
No.
God, can you imagine God Save the King? I almost said Queen then. Any slower than it already is. My most important question, though, is how were your cricketing tees?
The cricket tees were great, actually. The tees were great. Fair play to Broxbourne CC. The whole venue was actually fantastic. So it was brilliant. Just in North London, or it's in Essex, really, up there. But the ground was fantastic. The tees are fantastic, and yeah, we got a lot to live up to for our next one.
Excellent. So let's crack on. We're talking about optimal training for in-season cricketers. Obviously, we are now in season. How is your season going so far, James?
It's been interesting. I think that's the best way to put it. I think here at Cardiff we're doing exceptionally well as a club. It's been fantastic to see where we are and how we developed. We've got lots of new players in the team. From the 1 to 2, 3, everything's just going fantastic. I've been mostly in the 2s because this is such a strong young team at the moment. It's fantastic. They're having to make me work for it to get anywhere near that level at the moment. But it's great. But the second team, we're doing fantastic. Like, it's so funny. Like, I'm batting at 3 and 4, and as the boys know, we've got pad rash. Like, I'm always not getting an opportunity to bat because we're doing so well up front and we're performing really well. So we're top of the league, six games in. And we haven't really had to get our second gear yet, which is a good thing because there was a big restructuring of the leagues last year, and I think over the next couple of years the Cardiff second team will be in the right position where it should be playing. But at the moment, I think there's a lot of readjusting, so it's been a bit unfair on some of the other teams that maybe we played against, because the quality, there's a lot of Premier League cricketers playing in that team who are good enough for Premier League cricket, and we're coming in that lower division at the moment, so it's been good. But personally it's been okay. I've scored 150, but I haven't really batted that much, so it's more of a team effort, really.
As everyone who listens to this podcast knows, I know nothing about cricket, basically. I know a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Would you class yourself as an all-rounder then? Because you're a spin bowler, yeah?
Yeah,
you bat at three or four, so I'd class you as an all-rounder. Am I correct on that?
I'm more of an all-rounder, batting all-rounder, a bowl, a bit of spin. I'm taking wickets, which has been great, but I haven't been needed to do that as well, because some of the boys are taking wickets too. So it's been a funny
do nothing,
season.
Essentially, is that what we're...
Yeah. I was literally Saturday. I did nothing. Like literally, we bowled the other team out for 88. And then we got it. We won by 10 wickets. So it's been one of those seasons where, like, with the teams doing exceptionally well, it's a great buzz, a great atmosphere. Everyone's performing, everyone's doing options. So we just, like you said, I think we're just waiting for the right situation where the team can move up a couple of leagues to compete as well as we could be.
Yeah. Who are you playing this weekend?
I think we're playing Penarth actually this weekend. Last week at Penarth, but saying that, I feel. I've been doing some work with Toby Radford. If you haven't listened to his podcast on batting, I highly recommend it, and recommend working with him, which has been great. And I've been doing I've changed my training for in-season this year, and I'm actually feeling fitter and stronger and faster and more agile, even at my ripe old age of 40, than I have for a long time.
Do you want to talk about, before you go on to exactly what you're doing in-season, you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing with Toby at the moment and how that's helping you?
Yeah, well, literally, Toby, it's all batting technique and batting coaching. So he's taken me back down to basics, and we've found out a couple of basic, not errors, but like triggers that I was doing that wasn't getting me into full alignment. So we've worked on my alignment and my posture at the stance. So that's the main. It's hard to describe it. More of a lot better alignment, which is feeling really good, which meant to have a better bat path as the ball's coming down. So.
Do you maybe, I'm trying to think of how to describe this for people, do you maybe lack a little bit of rotation, so that's why you're not in the right position?
So one of the things we just discussed was my left shoulder, because I'm a left-hander, so obviously my right shoulder is facing forwards and my left shoulder is at the back. So what I found was to get in some of the alignment positions, it was my left shoulder that wasn't letting me come into that position. It was tight. I had a tight neck on my right side, my tight left shoulder, which meant I couldn't get into proper alignment. Yep. So I was compensating, which allowed me to fall over a little bit on my off stump. For those who are going to get really technical about what I'm doing.
Go get technical.
But it was, so that's the big thing. So my alignment wasn't there. So there was an issue. My left shoulder was the one leading the movement instead of my being in alignment. So I was like squaring up a little bit to meet the ball. So I wasn't as strong on the onside as what I should be. But anyway, I've addressed that, done some correction work release my neck, release my left shoulder a lot. So I'm back into alignment. So I'm feeling very strong on my onside at the moment, like very strong that I haven't been for years. And my pull shot is back, which is one of my favourite shots. So it's all going well. I've had a couple of interesting ways of getting out. I've had a couple of like full tosses when I tried to smash it out the park late on to get out, and got out to them. It's just one of those things. But yeah, it's been good. Batting feels good, and hopefully I'll get a chance to actually score some big runs soon.
Cool.
Hopefully get things next week.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I don't really care. I can cheer you on, mate. That's fine. So, what are you doing training-wise in season at the moment?
So, I think let's start with as a general topic for everybody now. I think the number one rule for the entire cricket season is to help people keep as fresh as possible, so they can perform as best as they possibly can without getting injured. I think that's the real importance here. Yep. Now. You've got to think about this. Cricket is very hard on the body, particularly if you're playing multiple games a week. I am currently playing 3 to 4 games a week. 1 or 2 T20s, followed by 2 or 3 40, 50 over games during the course of it, which is quite a lot for a 40-year-old to be playing. But I enjoy it. I love it and I want to keep doing it. So I've got to bear in mind that I'm getting my fitness from playing the game of cricket. I'm not getting my fitness from my training. There's a very clear distinction. So the running between the wickets, the running on the field, making sure I'm doing that's where my fitness is coming. So off the field, I'm doing everything to maximise my ability to recover and still perform and stay resilient and be injury free. I think that's the key thing here. So my number one priority that I'm doing every single day is mobilizing and doing stretching. I think that's the biggest takeaway I can give to everybody in season right now is to prioritize mobility and stretching, yoga if you want to do it in that sense, but do that every single day and ideally before and after a cricket game too. That sounds really like too much, but it's not. It's all about that recovery to feel better afterwards, and I can't emphasize that enough. You feel so much better for it. It's fresher to play the game as possible because you don't want to go into each game tired and exhausted.
No.
Which are the key things. That's the main thing. I think if you had to do one thing, mobilise and stretch. That is it.
Even if you did nothing else. Yeah.
Exactly. Particularly if you're playing multiple games a week. So if you're playing 3-4 games a week, mobilise and stretch. If you're playing one game a week on a Saturday, well then you can do other stuff. But prioritise the mobility on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday to recover fast enough. But the rest of the week you can go into other things. But it's all about staying fresh for that Saturday game, and you don't want to be lifting too heavy, too hard during the week because it's going to put more strain, and you're going to put your body into like a energy deficit, as I potentially call it.
So in terms of any strength work that you're doing, what does that look like at the moment as compared to what it would look like off season?
There's a really good phrase that I like in terms of comparing powerlifters, who are big, strong people, and sprinters. Powerlifters are strong, but they're not fast. Sprinters are fast, but they're strong. Yeah. You can get a lot of strength training from sprint work. Now, sprinting, to some people, they picture images and conjure images of like hill sprints until you puke into a bucket. That's not what sprint training is all about. I'm actually in my sprinting gear this morning. I've come back in my running gear because that's what I did this morning. I went and did 45 minutes of sprint technique work, which is a lot of strength work, particularly in the hip flexors and quads and glutes. I spent 25 minutes of doing A skips, B skips, marching drills, pogo jumps, all this jumping plyometric light stuff, and then I did 7 sets of wicket drills of sprinting, where I ran half a football field over wickets, cover here, like I would sprint in a game running to the boundary. I did that 7 times, recovered, did it again, but I was focusing on technique and speed. And then I left after 45 minutes feeling fresh. But I could feel, strength work is a lot of explosive work, a lot of rebound work there. So I'd argue that most of your strength work in season should be around sprint technique. Because if we're trying to reduce injury, you want to sprint as often as possible, as fast as possible, whilst as fresh as possible. That's a secret to getting fitter, but it's also a secret of staying injury free. The best way to keep injury free from running and hamstrings and stuff like that is sprinting more. I can't emphasize that enough. People
as you say, it's very different to what people think about in sprints, because most people think of sprint finishers and, as you say, hill sprints or blooming Tabata sprints and falling over in a sweaty heap at the end, and that's not what we're talking about. Well, you said you did 7. Maybe that's too many. Just a few short sprints, 2 or 3 times a week. That's all you're talking about. So it's not heavy and hard, and you should feel good and refreshed after it, right? Yeah,
and I think I'll caveat this. There's 2 types of sprint workouts you can do. There's more lactate-inducing one, which is what I did today, because I got no game today. So I did a harder session, but it wasn't around how fast I could run. If you want to maximise, if you want to see how improve your speed, you got to time yourself and sprint as hard as you can for no more than 3. That's the golden rule there. But today I was a lactate workout, which was still only seven sets. I did it over wickets, so it was technique based. So I did it longer because it's more of a lactate induced because I had no match today. However, tomorrow I've got a match tomorrow night, so I'll get my fitness tomorrow night. So I could theoretically do some fast sprint work in the morning, but it would be keeping me fresh. No more than 30 minutes. Do some A drills, B drills, light jumps, light plyometrics into some speed work, which is like 3 reps. I said as fast as I can, and then I stretch and go home. That's very different. So I'm still fresh, but it's priming me for my game tomorrow night. I won't go in the gym tomorrow, and then I'll stretch before the game too. So there's 2 types of sprint workouts. Lactate inducing, which still isn't really like puke in a bucket. You still feel good from it. But then there's actual out and out speed work, which is more drill work here. So I'm more of a fan of this in season than I am lifting weights, to be honest with you. Because
we'll come on to that. You obviously, any weightlifting you're doing at the moment is quite light, and we'll come back to that. But we just had Mike Boyle on our sister podcast, the Strength Matters podcast, who's a incredibly well-respected coach in the strength and conditioning world for about the past 40 years or so. I hope I'm not making Mike older than he is. Probably about 40.
No, he's 60. He's 60 odd. Yeah, no, but he was the former head coach of the head strength and conditioning coach of the Boston Red Sox. One of the most famous baseball teams in the world.
Knows his stuff. Let's just say he knows his stuff. And anyway, his guys, they do sprints 2 or 3 times a week, and it's only three reps all out, done. That's it. So we're not talking a lot of reps because, as James said, you got to stay fresh. Do you want to talk about go back onto strength training now and things that we see, perhaps mistakes in the cricketing world? We're sort of, because this is something we talked with Mike about, that we are 10 years behind America, perhaps,
30 years.
in a way.
30 years.
Okay, 30 years behind.
Yeah,
in what we see. Mistakes, in our opinion, that we see are being made in the cricketing world at the moment.
And that was Mike's quote. He said they're about 30 years, but we figured this stuff out 30 years ago in baseball, and they're still. He said it. I'm still doing it in cricket terms. He's been asked several times from people from cricket to come and have a look at some of the stuff they're doing, and he's seeing them making the same mistakes they made 30 years ago. Yeah, and that's across the board. So. Now, there's a difference between off-season and in-season training. So again, it comes down to the fact that if you want to be as fresh as possible for your games and feel light-footed and agile, not heavy-footed and clunky and stiff and sore. When you lift heavy weights, you will get stiff and sore. It's not about maximising your bench press or your squats or whatever now during in-season, because it's going to make you stiff and sore. And it's going to make you less mobile on the field. You need to run, you need to jump, you need to there's been a hell of I saw a video today on Cricket District. Like, what a catch that guy took from
I need to watch this. I haven't seen it. Yeah,
it's mental. Like, shout out to all the guys at Cardiff Cricket Club. I keep telling you, there's a reason why I do these backwards running drills for you boys every single time in session. It's because to take stuff like that. But it's so in season it's more about just maintaining what you've got and keep working like fast twitch fibers. So you're not feeling sore, you're not feeling heavy, and you do want to lift heavy, but only for 1 to 3 reps. Like, I'm talking literally 3 reps. So you take your max rep deadlift, right? Do about 90% for 3 reps. Then you pair it with some plyometrics, so you still got your bounce. So we will make you faster. We make strength training to help you make you faster, but you're resting a long time in between. So you're not doing supersets. You're not doing, circuits. You don't do any of that stuff. Good example was me last night. Went to the gym last night. There was no cricket yesterday, so I spent 5 to 10 minutes warming up and activating. I then did some specific shoulder arm care work that you've been working with, Josh, to improve my mobility in my shoulder. So I did some arm bars. I did some bottoms up carries at 90 degrees for my serratus anterior muscle, because it's
how's that going, by the way? I feel it's working.
Yeah, it is actually. I'm getting strong on my left side compared to my right side. It's a massive discrepancy. I did that activation work, and then I went into my lifting stuff. Now, for those who don't know what my lifting was, I did kettlebell clean and jerks, 5 reps each side, paired up with some box jumps. Like, super easy. I literally did 5 reps each side, did 5 box jumps, and that's jumping onto a box quietly and stepping down, full range of motion, just to pair it off. So the explosive lift, like kettlebell jerks, is all about maximum explosive to improve vertical height and vertical leap. But then I rested 3 to 5 minutes in between, did it 3 times. So it was super easy. It was heavyish, 24 kilo for me, so it was a third of my body weight, and that's all I did. That is literally what I did. And then I did some trap bar deadlifts, 3 sets of 3 reps, right? For me, at about 90% of my max. I did guesstimate max because I haven't lifted for a while properly. But I had 140 kilos in the bar for 3 reps, which is 2 times body weight. And I paired that up with standing jumps. So I did that with standing jumps. And that was my weight session, followed by a little bit of maximum aerobic speed work on the assault bike. And that was it. Nice. It took me 60 minutes with some stretching at the end, but there's a lot of rest in between. That's the only weight training. A lot of
mobility. Yeah, majority of that session was actually mobility, really.
And activation work, Core, and I finished with core work. Sorry, so I did a lot of I did a lot of Copenhagen planks last night, actually.
Nice.
To play around with that. But that was it. So like it was like explosive lift, which for me was a kettlebell jerk, so I got that technique. Then I did a heavy trap bar deadlift because it's one of the best exercises that combines squatting and deadlifting in one, and it's safe to do with a plyometric, superset plyometrics, and then core work. As simple as that.
Yeah.
What about
would you be tempted to do some light trap bar jumps if someone can't do kettlebell jerks?
Yep, 100%. You do the more explosive one at the start, so trap bar jumps at the start paired with a plyometric again, and then you go into something else afterwards. So again, it's super light, super easy. I'm a big fan of Turkish get-ups. They're a great one to do it. Total
we
body
love the
work.
get-up, absolutely. Yep.
So you do some slight overhead work, but nothing too crazy. It's the overhead carries and stuff like that. So, but that's the important thing. You don't, for cricketers, we want to avoid the barbell on your back or pressing with a barbell like it's the plague. You want to avoid it, and just avoid it because it makes you slower in all aspects.
I would add to that. You want to avoid it on your back and your front. I wouldn't be doing any front squats either. Got to be honest, guys.
Yeah, because they haven't got the mobility. You haven't got the mobility.
Yeah, they probably don't have the mobility.
And your shoulders to get into that position, the foot to do it well, and then you're arching your back. So again, it comes down to the fact we keep saying this on this podcast. The number one cause of most cricketers who've got back pain, who've been training in the gym, is the barbell back squat.
Yeah.
Right, and I'd argue even deadlifts, because some of the deadlifts I see are shocking as well.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, and sorry guys, sorry, don't mean to piss on any chips, but it's what I'm seeing, and it's here. And then a lot of them are training guys in the training. Speaking of the boys at Cardiff, like I see what they're doing and hear what they're doing. You're training for aesthetics, not for cricket. Two different things. Two very different. If you want aesthetics and bodybuilder look and look good for the beach, which I know everyone does, because everyone talks about who's got a good rig in the changing room when they take their shirts off, right? So I know you hear that, right? So I get that, but there's a difference in how you perform, and you want to be faster.
Train properly for your sport, you should get that as a byproduct. That's real. If you focus properly on what you should be doing, you get that as a byproduct. So you don't have to train for the beach, because that's the wrong way to think about it.
Exactly.
Cool. Should we move on to a little bit of something you mentioned before? You're already seeing nutrition. This is already seeing people put on a little bit of weight, and we're only just at the start of the season. Yeah.
So we always say this: what's the number one goal for the whole season is no injuries, and one of the biggest reasons people have injuries is because they put on weight. Body fat percentage is a huge factor in performance and injuries. That's why Premier League footballers are measured to the nth degree on their body fat, because it's linked to hamstring injuries and pulls. Yeah. Right?
We're only talking a couple of percent difference, and you're in trouble. Basically.
You're slower, you're weaker, and you're in all sorts of troubles. And again, we start of June. I'm already seeing it, because the boys, don't get me wrong, like it's all great. We're winning, we're going out, having food, but they're not prioritising training, and they think they're getting the training from their cricket, so the nutrition goes out the window a little bit. So we're seeing this already, that people are putting on weight, and there's so many studies out there that talk about this, particularly in female football players, where they use an example of how at the start their weight stays the same over the course of the season. However, by the end of each season, their body fat goes up 4%, and the injuries start to happen when it goes up to above 1.52%. And it carries on here. So we're at that stage now where injuries are starting to happen in cricket for multiple different reasons. But people need to listen and understand that they need to pay more attention to the nutrition and hydration habits, because that's key. You'll be starting to consume more food without you realising it, and you're not burning off quite as much. And you need to draw that back in, because at the end of the season, you'll be a few kilos heavier and about 5-10% body fat heavier too.
Do you think for the average cricketer, it's a little bit of, as you say, you're playing the games and then you're going out and having a few beers afterwards, perhaps? It's that's overlooked, which is understandable. 100%. Everyone's got to relax and have a bit of fun, but you just got to keep your eye on it a bit more.
Yeah, it's part of the social side of things as well. You've got to, I'm all for that, don't get me wrong, but you need to be aware and be mindful of it.
It's just being aware, that's it.
Yeah, that's all we're trying to say. I'm not saying don't have any beers, like it's part of the culture, it's part of the way things done. However, if you're having 6 beers plus a pizza and a kebab after you go out with the boys and the beers, and then you wake up next morning, have a quick breakfast, and then start eating everything under the sun, and then you do it throughout the week, without inadvertently not realise that you've added an extra 5,000 calories to your weekly intake without even realising. So you may eat perfectly Monday through Thursday or Friday, but then the weekend is literally topping you and taking you over the edge.
You over, yeah. Exactly.
But it is, you could just bear that in mind. Like, nutrition is such a big factor to bear in mind over the course of the season, and be more mindful. I think it's actually really more important than training in some respects, alongside what you're trying to do. So, keep them in.
We've spoken about this on other podcasts as well. If the only training you're going to be able to have time to do because you've got a busy life and you've got playing a lot of cricket and everything is going to be mobility, great. But at least try and keep your nutrition in check. You've got to keep one or the other. If you let both fall off the wagon, then you're in real trouble.
Mm-hmm. It is, and it starts with, and sadly enough, we talk about cricket teas, it starts with cricket teas. Like, I had cricket tea
well, let's
on the weekend,
teas.
and I don't normally have it, but like, I know for a fact, like, I literally ended up not eating properly all day Saturday because we finished at 3:45, like, which is unheard of. We bowled them out for 88, finished at 4:45, like, great, we had tea, then you start nibbling and eating other stuff, and it just builds up, and suddenly, because I track religiously, as you know, every day, I suddenly had 3,300 calories, which is that's 1,000 calories over than what I normally have. And that was because I tracked, and I thought, oh my god, what have I done here? And then figured it out. But even me, that's particularly as you age, as any aging cricketers, you've got to be more mindful of the body composition, because it does impact your performance and your injury rate. And we've got to be more careful than the other guys. The youngsters can get away with it a lot of the time. We can't. We physically can't.
What about? Obviously, we've got great weather at the moment. What about hydration during a match?
Really important. I think we should do a separate podcast on that, on strategies and how to do it. In fact, we can do that next time, I think, because it is something they don't even think about. They usually get squash in the middle of the game. They don't think about what they should be doing having before to optimise it. So maybe we do that as a separate podcast. Robinson's, it's literally Robinson's squash. Or Tesco's, whatever crap you get in there, which is all good. But you can do better, and maybe we need to speak of that, because it does impact mental performance as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, talking about having beers and stuff in cricket, you're going to take me to a game soon.
I am indeed. We've acquired tickets for the Ashes, the first day of the Ashes, up at Headingley, haven't we? So Cricket Matters, Strike Matters Works Day Out to go and have a look at it.
I can't wait. It'll be the first proper cricket game I've ever been to.
It's a big one as well. The Headingley Test is a massive one. So, we're looking forward to that.
Is it the first test of the series?
No, it's the third test. Third test. Right. So it could be a pivotal one. Could be a pivotal one. Day one, third test, up at Headingley.
Nice.
Going out with the rest of the Northern Monkeys.
Hey, looking forward to it.
We're good.
Anything else you want to add to this before that you want to talk about before we wrap this episode up?
Yeah, I think just very simply, you need to train as if you're a professional sprinter for cricketers. Right. I think that's a really good way to think about it. Train as if you're a sprinter. Sprinters don't sprint to failure, right? They're like a cat. They have a nap every now and then they come out and sprint fast, and they go back to sleep. And they have that type of mentality. It's similar to that. So you've got to focus. Imagine you're a professional sprinter, and in season for cricketers, that's your priority. Mobilise, stretch, right? Do activation work. Do the drills that you're going to switch some of the muscles on that you need to have. Look after your shoulders a lot, and then train like you're a sprinter for fast twitch fibres to keep you fresh and as fast as possible. And then focus on some of the running drills in between. And you have a solid in-season game to feel bouncy, feel fresh, feel athletic, agile, whilst combining good nutrition. And then we can talk about strengthening and power work in the off-season after that.
Absolutely. Before we wrap up, it's the old misconception of beast mode, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
How people think beast mode is just going mental and absolutely running yourself into the floor. And the reason I mention this is because we went to Knowsley Safari Park this weekend. Saw some lions, and what were they doing? They were just lying down sleeping, the lazy gits. So lions, ultimate beast mode. What do? They sleep most of the day. They'll have a quick sprint to get some food, and then they'll go back. They'll eat and go back to sleep. So that's beast mode.
Exactly. It is true, and like I said, it's different. Like, if you want to lose weight, it's separate. Losing weight is hard work. It's a lot of hard work. It's not for in-season cricket. It really isn't. You can maybe lose some weight around eating less, but you don't prioritise lifting heavy and stuff, because it's going to impact your game on the field.
Yep.
On Saturday.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Cool. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Any comments, questions, feedback, suggestions, please do let us know. Anything you want us to talk about on the podcast, we'll happily do it. And we've got some good guests coming up, have we not, James?
Absolutely, hopefully, yeah. We'll keep it quiet, but we'll got some guests.
Oh, it's all secrets. Please do tune in again. Thank you, James. Thank you guys for listening. Until next time.